You're watching MMA Oddsbreaker. That is Mark Munoz. I am Frank Trigg in Las Vegas. Mark is in California. Mark has hit the news a lot lately. You actually came out and talked about a little bit about what it's like to lose a fight and be injured and what it's like going through it. No one has come out and been as detailed and in depth as you have, and myself as a former fighter and a lot of other current fighters I've talked to that have lost before were like, they were kind of pissed because they weren't first. Because what you were saying was exactly what all of us go through. We're all kind of mad, like we didn't do it before you did. We all kind of kept it to ourselves, and you were more open than the rest of us. Did you get tricked into talking about it, and now it's just like you got to talk about it all the time, going through depression and how it is, or is it just you were just okay with talking about it to begin with? You really are comfortable with it.
Yeah, what you see is what you get with me, man. Like, I come from the sport of wrestling, and just like you, and a loss is a loss, and you can't look back on that loss, and you can't be ashamed on it. And I learned from that, and that's one thing that I did, was move on with it. And I went through a lot of stuff, man. I had a tough year going through it, and I'm real candid about what happened with me. And I'm not trying to make any excuses or anything like that, but I'm just stating the facts on what happened to me. And it was a very very adversity-stricken year last year, and just it opened my eyes to different things. And now I can actually look at different people through a different set of lenses now, because before I was just like, man, they just got to suck it up, man. And now it's actually real, man. I know it's real. I know it's something that people struggle with, and I went through it, and it takes a lot to actually conquer it and be transcendent over it. So I'm very candid about it, man. And a lot of us go through it, just like you said. And I spoke to a lot of the fighters in my gym, and spoke to them candidly about it. And I said, hey guys, I'm at the lowest of my lows right now, and I need for you guys to help me and encourage me and motivate me, inspire me to get back on my feet, because I can't do it by myself, and that's what it took. And now I'm actually putting it out there and letting everybody know that us fighters are we're regular people too, man.
Yeah.
Like, we struggle and we go through a lot of stuff, and a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people kind of just see us training and going through the fighting, just a regular interview, like, yeah, I'm ready to fight, it's a great camp, and they're not 100% honest with what's going on. And I was 100% honest, and everything that I've said, I've documented, and it's that was the 100% truth. And now I'm back better than ever, and there's a better version of me that's going to show up July 6th. So I'm very excited for this fight.
Mark's fighting on UFC 162. He's fighting Tim Boetsch. We've seen Tim get some lucky wins, and we've seen him lose some unlucky fights. But Mark seems to be motivated. Now, you're talking about your depression of going through a loss. Now that you know what it is and you know kind of how it affects you, can you go back in time and look at it when you were wrestling at Oklahoma State University? And can you go, oh yeah, I had depression during that time set? And is it always been over a loss, or sometimes does it happen after a win? Do you have the same problem during a win?
Yeah, that's at Oklahoma State. It was a little bit different because there was a lot of pressure for you to win at Oklahoma State. If you didn't win at Oklahoma State, you would get thrown by the wayside. You weren't producing, and it's kind of a bit of a meat shop, out with the old, in with the new, and if you're not producing, well, you gotta move on. So there was a lot of pressure, and if you won, you had to win by either major decision or technical fall or pin, and if you didn't win, like by a huge margin against a guy you're supposed to win by a huge margin on, the coaches wouldn't look at you very good, So there was, a lot of the pressure that I had with winning came from when I was at Oklahoma State, but now I'm maturing, man. I'm 35 years old, and I'm getting to the point where I just want to be better than I was yesterday, and every time I step into the octagon, I want to be better, and I learned a tremendous amount from that fight, and going through depression actually slowed my lifestyle down where, man, I'm a father now, and I have 4 kids, and I own a business, and I was able to concentrate on those things and see those things to where I have to be intentional with my kids. I got to be more thoughtful with my wife. I got to be able to plan things for my business and get things rolling with instructors and leadership development and all of that stuff. So it actually put my life back into harmony, because all of that stuff, like it was kind of, I was so focused on becoming a world champ that I kind of threw everything off to the wayside. And you and I both know that, if there's nothing, if there's no harmony in your life, everything becomes chaotic. And I try to hide from a lot of the things that were stressing me out through training, and going to my gym was kind of my escape from everything else that I wasn't dealing with. And so I had to deal with those things. My body was healing at the same time, and now I'm at the point where I'm actually at a good place with a lot of the roles I play in my life. So yeah, it's a good thing that I went through it. And at first I didn't view it like that. At first I was just like Fat Bastard on Austin Powers, eating because I was sad, and I was sad because I was eating. Type thing. But looking back in retrospect, I look at it and now I see why I went through it, because now my relationship with my wife and my kids are a lot better. My business is profitable. It's in the black, and I'm feeling as the best I've ever felt, and I look the best I've ever looked now at this weight. So it's going to be exciting July 6th. So it's like everything is almost in harmony now.
How tough was it, do you think, for your wife to watch you go through this? Because I remember a time when she was dead set against you fighting and wanted you just to be a wrestling coach and raise the kids. Then all of a sudden now she's watching you fight, watching you lose like she did in college, but it's different. Like, you're a different man losing now. How hard do you think it was for her? You can never understand how fully it was hard for her, but what kind of sense does she give you of like, hey, Mark, you got to kind of get yourself out of this, for not only for me, but for the kids and for yourself personally?
Yeah, she was a huge part of me digging myself out of depression. She's like, hey, this is not going to define you. This is not going to define who you are. You've lost before, and you've lost to where you got pinned in college. You lost drastically to people that you shouldn't have lost to. But a loss is a loss. It's just gonna, you're not gonna be measured by how many losses you have, but how many times you come back from a loss. That's how champions are measured. And she's competed before, and I tell the story with how I got into mixed martial arts, because remember the time when you came to Sacramento?
Yeah.
And remember that training camp where there was Randy Couture, Brandon Vera was there, Rampage was there, Brandon Vera was there, you were there, Scott Smith, James Irvin, and we were training up at Sierra College. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I tell the story all the time, and my wife didn't want me to fight. She didn't even want me to go to that training camp, and I was just coaching and teaching, getting my master's. I had a wife and 4 kids at the time. I didn't have time to do anything. So she was very, very against me fighting at that time. But I had to sit her down and say, hey, this is something that we need to explore. And she trusts me, and she's my better half. And she, after my first 2 fights in the UFC, she will never go to the UFC and watch. She'll just be at the side and just be at the hotel. When I come back safe, that's all she cares about. So but when she saw me going through this, she had to pick me up, man. She's definitely my better half, and she was competitive. She knows how I am, and she's been with me since Oklahoma State, and she encouraged me, and I'm very grateful because of that.
Well, I will say this. When we compete against each other, you were a freshman and I was a senior, and we competed against each other in the preseason. I was up on you by like 6 or 7 points, like something ridiculous, and I was like, oh, this is going to be easy, beating this freshman. And then all of a sudden you started coming back, and I ended up having us really bucker down and really, really hunt to keep the last 2 points. I didn't win it by 1 or 2 points or something silly. And I walked off the mat, and I walked to John Smith, and I shook his hand and said, you guys are going to have a national champ on your hands with that guy. And I walked...
Of wrestling actually came in through the doors. Oklahoma State alumni, and I remember just getting whooped on every day, but I just kept trying to get a takedown, kept doing that, and the only way that got me through that match, because I wouldn't give up, and the only way I was able to get through our match, because you were whooping on me in the beginning, I'm like, you know what, I can't do anything about it now. I just gotta try my best to actually try to win this match, and so that's all was going through my mind, and I knew who you were. I don't think you knew who, if I knew who you were, but I knew who you were, and I do my research with who I wrestle, and that was the finals of that tournament. I was like, man, I'm wrestling Frank Trigg. He's a senior right now, and I'm a true freshman. I don't know, man. This is gonna be a tough match, and that's what I did, and with that mentality, I actually took that mentality and applied it to my life, and that's what actually got me in trouble with last year, because I was hurt probably for about a year and a half with my elbow, and I was hurt going into my fight against Chris Weidman, and I just, if I was able to have flexion in my elbow, and if I was able to extend it, I would have fought Chael Sonnen. I would have.
Oh.
But my arm was stuck like this, and I couldn't extend it or straighten it out, so I had to back out. But I could actually walk on my foot. But after I got done fighting Chris Weidman, I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, hey, your fifth metatarsal is broken, and I don't know how you even fought with that. And I'm like,
wow,
really? And he goes, yeah, for that, since your foot is so far away from your heart, it's going to take a long time to heal, and you got about 4 to 6 months before it heals, and then after that you got to go rehab, and then you'll probably be back within 10 to 12 months. I'm like, what? And that's what kind of threw me in a tailspin. I hit rock bottom there, and as wrestlers, like when I can't compete, or this is how I make money now. I mean, when I couldn't compete, I can't make money, and I was just like, man, that was the straw that broke the camel's back right there. So I kind of went into a tailspin and went through depression, and tried to eat all the comfort food I could.
Yeah,
so
which is fine, because we all do that. That's not a problem, eating a bunch of food. That research, when you were in college, you would research a lot on your opponents coming up. You wanted to know everything about every single guy. Do you still do that now for your MMA fights?
Oh yeah, I still do that. And for me, what I do is and I learned this in college. When I watch footage on different wrestlers and fighters, I don't look at what they do necessarily, but I look at how they set things up, and how they actually set it up, and try to be aware of their setups, because if you try to look at what they do specifically, you'll never be able to counter it, because it's already done. So I want to be aware of their setups, and when I'm aware of their setups, then I can actually do what I can do best, and just be aware of that. So I do watch a lot of footage. I've watched a lot of footage on Boetsch, and I have a good game plan coming up with him. So yeah, I'm definitely going to apply what I learned with watching footage and apply it to this fight.
Now, when he talks about watching the setups, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you're playing poker, he's looking for the tells. That's what all wrestlers do. We can't stop your single leg, we can't stop your double leg, but we can stop your setup. When you see the setup coming, we know what you're going to next. So it makes us look like we're half a step ahead of you, when really all we did is we saw your setup and we stopped your setup. And guys like Johnny Hendricks, everyone saw that left hand coming and how he set it up. But then when he fought Martin Kampmann, he all of a sudden threw the right hook first before he throws the left hand. Well, that was a different setup, so he couldn't prepare for that setup because we had never seen it before. But now everyone's seen that setup, he'll come up with something different. Same thing with Mo Lawal. He used to, last night on Bellator, he would just throw the legs by and kind of jump on you inside and take side control. Well, Seth Petrozelli was expecting him to take side, and this time Mo decided to step down and hit him with a one-punch knockout. So a lot of these guys in wrestling are finally starting to take that, let me figure out what this guy's setup is, his poker tell, to figure out what he's doing, and then I'll be able to set him up now if he knows mine and I know his. So it's coming a long way. Do you think Tim Boetsch is sitting at home looking at your setups to try to figure out what you're going to do next from fights like 2-3 fights ago when you weren't injured and didn't have all these bad problems?
Yeah, I'm sure that he's watching my footage, but the thing about myself is, you got to reinvent yourself every time you get into the octagon and every time you compete. So, like you said, when he's looking at a different setup, when he's looking at a setup, you're actually doing something different that they haven't seen before. And so that's how I've been preparing for this fight. I've been doing different things and preparing for this fight in a way where I'm still doing a lot of things that I do, but at the same time I have different setups and finish it the way I'd like to finish. So yeah, you're gonna still see the same version of me, but then you're actually gonna see something new as well. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm very excited. I'm coming into this fight healthy. So finally, I haven't been healthy in a fight for a very long time.
Mark, thanks for coming on here to MMA Oddsbreaker. I know it's family time. I don't want to keep you. Earlier, I saw your kids running around in the background, and
Yeah.
You can tell your wife from a fan that how impressed I am, but how she kept the entire family together while you were dealing with this, and figuring out how to make you a better man at the end of it. Because I know how important she is in your life, and I know how important it was for her to kind of be there as your rock during that time period. And you can tell her, I know you've already told her thanks enough, but you can tell her from one more fan, thanks, because I can't wait to see the real Mark Munoz back July 6th. It's a big deal to see you against Tim Boetsch. And I got to be honest, people have not seen how good you can really be because you haven't been that great guy yet.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I haven't really put my best foot forward in a lot of fights. I fought just to stay active and not putting my best version out there. So I appreciate the faith in me, man. I know us wrestlers stick together, but I know what my abilities are, and all my training partners know, and the cool thing, a part of it is the fans don't really know what it takes for us to train every day, and they don't know what goes on in the gym, and you as a fighter, and a lot of times that people don't see the training, people don't see the real version of fighters when they step out there, and it's awesome that you're actually educating people about that, because the real version comes out in the gym, and sometimes it doesn't translate out in competition, and sometimes you just kind of bite yourself like, man, dude, I could have done better than that, but yeah, I'm I'm actually speaking about myself as well, man. So yeah, so it's great to be able to be vocal about that stuff and let fans know about that, because now I actually feel like going into this fight I'm healthy, and you're definitely going to see a better version of me.
Well, Mark, good luck against Tim Boetsch on July 6th, UFC 162, and I'll definitely be talking to you right after the fight. You probably get